It's my song! Let's sing it! It's gonna be fucking awesome! Come on! It's gonna be fucking awesome! You know the words! It's gonna be fucking awesome! That's it! Sing! It's gonna be fucking awesome! Yeah!
All right. Are you fucking ready? I'm so excited. It's the top 15 greatest Disney animated movies of all time. I'm such a Disney fan. I said I don't exactly consider myself a Disney adult, but I really am one. I love Disney, especially Disney animation. I have so much respect and admiration for Walt Disney and what he built. The consistency of this company just throughout the years, for them, their ability to deliver so many amazing stories to our door. And this is like my list of 52 plus, and that's not to say that there aren't like a bunch more. I could keep going. I could do a list of fucking 100 if I wanted to. There's the amount of them that I fucking love that aren't necessarily on this list, even though, I love that one too. Like a Zootopia or something like that, or Inside Out 2. There's more that I love. But these today, what we're going to be talking about, are the ones that I love the most. And of course, we had to push back. Last week I got it right, but from the first part of the series, we had to push back all of those by one, because I remembered along the way one of my favorite Disney animated films that I forgot to put on the list. So I had to add it to the list, and we're going to get to it today as we get into the top 15. Because how could you forget one of your top 15, Jesse Blaze Snider? I know. I'm so ashamed of myself. Anyway, I'm Jesse Blaze Snider. I'm your host. I write comic books. I make music. I've written for Marvel and DC and Disney Pixar. I've made music that you've heard on the background of NASCAR and Monday Night Football and college football and things like that. I am a guy who left the system because the system fucking sucks, and I got really frustrated trying to bring all of the skills and all of the love and respect that I had for source material and go into comics and go into music and do all this stuff for labels and stuff. And I just hated the way the what do you say? You won't like it when you see the way the sausage is made. I don't like the way the sausage is made. So I started my own company. My company is called Blacklight District Studio. You can visit our website. It's blacklightdistrict.studio. And in fact, you can email me whatever you want at jbs@blacklightdistrict.studio. But visit blacklightdistrict.studio whenever you want. It is a hub of creativity. Free music, free comic books, tons of cool shit to explore, lists of fabulous films to check out and comics to check out, just like the list that I'm putting on for you right now. I have spent my entire life as a creative person studying the greatness of others so that I could improve upon my own greatness. So I could make, not really so I could improve upon my greatness, really, so that I could improve upon my skill, so that the things that I would make people happy, would be as great as the things that had made me happy. I'm all about making people happy, man. I'm a bit of a people pleaser, and that's why I went into the creative arts. And man, if I said to you that Disney animation was not a foundational part of my upbringing and my creative, learning, I would be lying. My mom is a big Disney animation fan, a big Muppet fan, and Get Me Into the Muppets and Get Me Into Disney Animation were two of my mom's biggest contributions to my life. So thank you, Mommy. So many movies that you put on for me when I was a baby are on this list. I'll have to call you later today and tell you that I was shouting you out on the show. I love you so much. What else do I have to say? Anything important? Oh, I do another show. It's called Everything They Don't Want You to Know. I've been kind of moving it to Mondays. Usually I was doing it Sunday for a little bit, but it's a conspiracy show, esoteric wisdom show, whatever you want to call it. But in this day and age, during this fucking DOJ, Epstein fucking releases, you need somebody like me in your life. You need some fucking autistic ADHD sufferer who's not afraid of information and can go in and fucking pull out facts and pull out information and bring it to you. At the end of the day, as I always tell my roommate, one of my best friends, Digger, I'll be sharing some insane stuff with him, and sometimes he'll make fun of me, and I'll be like, dude, I'm not telling you this is what I believe. I'm not telling you this is what I've concocted. I'm telling you there are millions of people in the world who are going off of this premise based on a lot of information that's out there. And I could present you with the information. I could give you individual pieces of information. And I don't know if this information means what they think it means, but it means fucking something. And we should be investigating more deeper until we figure out what the fuck it really means. What the hell is going on? So that's what my show is all about. Questioning everything, opening up the mind. I've worked a lot with spiritual plant medicine like ayahuasca and psilocybin and other things like that. And I have taken lots of important information back on the nature of our reality so that I could give it to my family. And I launched this show so I could give it to my friends and I could give it to strangers and people who might need it, might be out there needing to hear that somebody else is having similar experiences. So if any of that sounds good to you, check out Everything They Don't Want You to Know every Monday. Okay. Without further ado, I am so fucking excited today. This is just great, man. The top 15. And I'm just like, you don't know. You don't know what it's like to be a woman. No, you don't. That is from a one-act play that, or a sketch that a friend of mine wrote in high school, and me and my ex-wife still quote it to each other. You don't know what it's like to be a woman. No, you don't. It was very funny in context. I think it's still funny. Okay, so we are getting into the top 15 today, and I am not going to spoil any of these things for you. Of what's ahead. You're going to have to find out what's coming ahead. I think I lied and I thought that maybe this film was lower on the list last time or higher up, depending on how you look at it. But starting off today at number 15 on my list is Coco, released in 2017. This is directed by Lee Unkrich, who's so talented, and Adrian Molina. This won an Academy Award for Animated Feature and Song. Major cultural impact. Made $814 million worldwide. And it just celebrates Dia de los Muertos, which is the Day of the Dead. Some very powerful, emotional storytelling here. Lee Unkrich, who also directed Toy Story 3, who we were talking about last time on the show, directs this bad boy, and it is glorious in excelsis Deo. I think anything that is really heavily based in another culture that doesn't make you feel like an outsider, on any level, is just a win. Coco, I think, is just so universal and wonderful. The story of Miguel, he's a boy from a family that bans music. He accidentally enters the land of the dead on Dia de los Muertos while trying to become a musician. He uncovers the truth about his family's past and why they banned this music. And he learns that remembering loved ones keeps them alive, ultimately reconciling music and family legacy. The premise here that if you forget people on the other side, if there's nobody alive to remember the person, that they die for real in the afterlife because it's their memory. It's all the memories of the people who knew you when you were alive that actually hold you together in the afterlife. That's incredible. And the patriarch of the family, who has long passed on, the great grandmother or the grandmother's father, he's dying because his daughter is about to die. She's gotten old and she's about to pass on, and nobody remembers him. And they've chosen not to remember him. They've blocked him out of their minds because of what they believe he did. Of course, as the film goes on, you find out he didn't. It's not true. It's much more complex and nefarious, and it's such a mind-blowing, heartfelt, wonderful story. I mean, just a real, like a deeper death than any death you can imagine. He's on the other side going, no, I'm disappearing because nobody remembers me. And the song, Remember Me. Oh, God damn it. Last week I was crying a whole bunch because we had to talk about so many of these movies that I have a very strong emotional reaction to. All of the music is wonderful in this movie. It all plays. It works. Some of them are memorable, but in particular, Remember Me is just so memorable. It is just so fucking powerful, so memorable, and they do it a few times in the movie. you cannot help walking away singing "Remember Me." It's so beautiful. Even though I've gone away, remember me. Ugh. To have not seen this movie in so long, years now, and to be able to just hum a bar from it and feel and feel and feel something so powerful, so rich. That's what this movie means. It's so meaningful. It's such a meaningful piece about family and about forgiveness and about misunderstandings and you can't you sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And just the wonderful story and the visuals, going to the other side and seeing all of these dead people. It's got a great style about it. Just the simple story of just this little boy wants to be a musician and his family won't let him because of this bad history with their no good musician grandfather who abandoned the family and all this stuff. And as it turns out, no, he didn't. It wasn't true. And having to get that across and it's just there's so many little aspects, heartstring pulling aspects to this film that I find absolutely delightful. It really is just one of the most wonderful animated musicals ever. I felt like I had talked about this recently, and I'm pretty positive that the reason why I feel like I talked about this recently was because I did in my greatest musicals ever made. I'm trying to find that list right now to see. I don't know if I deleted it. I think it's somewhere in here of the greatest musicals ever made. 52 animated classics, Rock of Eternity, animated classic, all-time favorite films. Maybe it's in here that I put this down. But I think Coco shows up in here. Yeah, because I had to add some of that best animated films ever. And Coco is somewhere on my list. I think it's some of the greatest films I've ever seen. Greatest movies ever made. Bummer. I can't find that list. But I'm pretty sure it is on that list for me. What a wonderful film it is. And if it doesn't leave you smiling ear to ear, crying your eyes out at times, you have no heart. That's all I can say to you, goddammit. You have no soul. All right, at number 14 on the list, one of the fucking greatest Disney animated films of all time. It is 101 Dalmatians. When Cruella de Vil kidnaps a litter of Dalmatian puppies for their fur, their parents, Pongo and Perdita, embark on a daring rescue across England, ultimately saving dozens of puppies and forming a large, loving family. This is one of those early classics. This is 1961. Directed by Clyde Geronimi. Again, Hamilton Lusky, Wolfgang Reitherman. These guys are big deals. It was a major hit, introducing Cruella de Vil, one of the greatest villains of all time. Made $215 million with reissues at the box office. First major use of Xerox animation process, and that allowed for a lot faster and cheaper production. And as I've mentioned Reitherman's name again, he overlaps with Jungle Book, Robin Hood. Brilliant director. Oftentimes they're using the Sherman Brothers. Although I don't think Sherman Brothers have anything to do with, I don't think they wrote the Cruella de Vil song. The Cruella de Vil song in this movie. Oh, it's so good. So simple. So many, 101 Dalmatians and there's so many that are memorable. But more, it's the parents and their care for their kids, and we got to get our kids back. And what a simple fucking premise that everybody can get behind. And then the evil of Cruella de Vil and her riding around in that fucking fancy car like a demon, and her two bumbling idiot assistants, and just the idea of them howling, like just and then other dogs would howl from other areas, and they were putting out the word, we're looking for some puppies. And like, oh, there's a parents, they're looking for some puppies. Oh, they're looking for some puppies. Oh, we haven't seen any puppies. We've seen some puppies over here. And these dogs are able to find the puppies. They come together as a community, that all of these animals are a community in of themselves. And they're communicating with each other all the time. They're sending up calls. And people are listening. And eventually that's going to get them to go find their children. Go find these Dalmatians that have been taken by this lady so that she can turn them into coats. I mean, just at the end of the day, the stakes don't get any fucking higher than 101 baby Dalmatians being turned into coats. Okay? And this whole thing of like, they don't have any spots. Oh, well, it takes them a little while to get their spots. And Cruella de Vil trying to buy the puppies so she can skin them alive. Oh, man. I mean, just as a kid, I was just like, fuck this lady. Fuck her. I hate her. I hate this lady. I mean, who doesn't love animals? And who's watching Cruella de Vil like going just so directly? Because like generally speaking, the Cruella de Vils of the world are like going to a fashion store and they walk in and they're like, oh, this is lovely fur, I'll take it. Not going, oh, look at that living puppy, I love its fur, I'd like to skin it and wear it on my back. Oh, just that bit is just so dark and disturbing. And the song just encapsulates Cruella. Cruella de Vil, Cruella de Vil. If she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. The world was such a peaceful place until Cruella, Cruella de Vil. It's such a great song. It's such a great movie. There's a reason why it's gone on and be remade. The film versions of it with freaking Glenn Close are great. The recent Cruella, which is sort of weird in a lot of ways, is also, there's things to like about that too. The character, the villain, has just stood the test of time because she's just so easy to fucking hate. And these stakes, it's just, you do not get better stakes than this for your characters in your movie, like torture and death. It's like essentially what's on the table for a bunch of puppies and parents trying to do the right thing to find their kids. It's just one of the most wonderful things. And I mean, if I haven't exactly covered it, the plot, when Cruella de Vil, she kidnaps a litter of Dalmatian puppies for their fur. Their parents, Pongo and Perdita, embark on daring rescue across England. Oh, no, I read that. That was the first thing I said. Okay, cool. So we're going to move on to number 13. But, man, 101 Dalmatians. What a great one. At number 12, we've got a live-action animation hybrid, one of the greatest of those ever done. It's Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Private Detective Eddie Valiant investigates a murder involving cartoon star Roger Rabbit, uncovering a plot to destroy Toontown as he overcomes his prejudice against cartoons. Eddie saves both worlds and exposes the villain Judge Doom. This movie is just excellent. The late Bob Hoskins is amazing, interacting with bugs and all this stuff. Eddie Murphy had been considered for the part of the Eddie Valiant thing for a moment, which is interesting. I'm pretty sure that he was in an interview saying he just didn't understand how it would work, and like when he saw it, he was like, I regretted not saying yes to that. This came out in 1988. Christopher Lloyd, once again, as the fucking bad guy who turns out to be I don't want to spoil anything. What a great movie. It's directed by the great Robert Zemeckis. He's very talented. Produced by Steven Spielberg. It's a groundbreaking blend of animation and live action. Reinvented interest in classic cartoon characters because there's so many classic cartoon characters who appear in the film. And, people were interested to go see if they could find more. It made $351 million worldwide at the box office and features Disney and Warner Brothers characters together, which is something that never happened up until that point. You've got Daffy Duck and Donald Duck playing piano on stage in a dueling performance. It's hysterical. Two of my favorite characters of all time, Donald and Daffy. And it's a major technical milestone in film history. Zemeckis later did Forrest Gump, which is, of course, not on this list, but a notable film. And Zemeckis has gone on to do tons of other films, including other animations and computer animations, and he's a very talented guy. Anyway, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is quite simply one of the greatest animated films of all time. And now we will get to number 12 on the list, and the second of the Howard Ashman films to show up. Howard Ashman being the writer of the wonderful music. Aladdin, made in 1992, or sorry, released in 92. You've got directors Ron Clements and John Musker. And this is one of Disney's Renaissance's biggest hits. Robin Williams' genie performance is legendary. If you've never seen Aladdin, it's kind of crazy at this point. You know, it spawned the Aladdin animated series, which was equally great. The films that were honorable mentions at the end of our list: Return of Jafar and it's like the Kingdom of Thieves, something like that. Sorry, I've got the ice cream man going through my neighborhood right now, and he is touring around in the back. I'm going to hit pause for a second so I can get past the ice cream man. Woo! I'm back, and it's been an adventure. I got ice cream. I went to just take a break, and I look outside. Of course, the ice cream man has stopped in front of my house because my roommate, Digger, he wanted some ice cream. So I went out, like, all right, waiting for the thing to go by. And the Digger said, "Do you want any ice cream?" I said, "Yes, I do." So I just had a lovely little rainbow cone from Mr. Softy. Okay, where were we? So we are talking Aladdin. Howard Ashman. It's so sad. You know, he only did these three, and you know, there's the other musical that he's most associated with, besides Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin, is The Little Mermaid, which is The Little Shop of Horrors, which is my favorite musical of all time. Period. Hands down. Full stop. It's the best. The story of Aladdin follows the street thief Aladdin as he discovers a magical lamp containing a genie, played by Robin Williams, who grants wishes and allowing him to pose as a prince to win Princess Jasmine, who he's fallen in love with accidentally because Princess Jasmine was slumming it, trying to pretend she was like a regular person, and he ends up falling in love with this girl. And he's like, well, nothing to do about that. You know, she's a princess. She's got to marry a prince. And then he finds a fucking lamp through the machinations of Jafar, who's one of the greatest Disney villains ever, with his little sidekick. What's the parrot's name? Played by Gilbert Godfrey. Oh, I'm forgetting. It'll come to me. But he ultimately learns honesty and self-worth are more important, of course, than appearances, and defeats the villain Jafar. Aladdin is sad because it was very important to the Howard Ashman. Like this movie was personal for him. There's actually a few songs that were not included in the final film. That one in particular, I forget what it's called, but it was very personal to Mr. Ashman, and he never got to see this film released. He died before it came out, and what a fucking bummer that is. 504 million worldwide. Heavy improvisation for Robin Williams, and this boosted the idea of celebrity voices in these animated castings like big time. Clements and Musker also direct The Little Mermaid, Hercules, Moana. They are so talented directors of this film, and I really just think Aladdin is one of those movies that is hard to deny how great it is, and I mean, really, even more so than the Lion King. You know, the greatness of Aladdin and that cast. Iago is the parrot. Iago and Abu, and you know, even just the Jasmine's tiger, and all these little characters and big characters that show up. They're just very memorable and well introduced through all of the wonderful songs like A Whole New World and One Jump at the beginning of the thing. And even the introduction song, Arabian Night. Arabian Night, it's Arabian Day. It's so great. You really cannot go wrong with this film. I like to believe that Howard Ashman got to watch Aladdin up in heaven, and it's a small consolation prize, but sorry, Howard. Thanks so much for making these things, making these beautiful, beautiful songs, and helping to create something, a vehicle like this for Robin Williams. You know, it's like bonus stuff. It's like, it still would have been an amazing movie without Robin Williams. The songs, the story, It's great. I mean, who doesn't have that, like, that romantic bit of Aladdin putting his hand out on the flying carpet to pull Jasmine up? Do you trust me? I can show you the world. I remember singing that in choir. Aladdin. Yeah. I guess I won't dwell too much more on Aladdin just because it is so well known. But Aladdin, one of the greatest Disney animated films of all time. All right, at number 11 now, getting close to that top 10, but not quite. At number 11, Alice in Wonderland, released in 1951, and this would have been top 10 if not for the last minute edition that I made. Released in 1951, you've got directors Clyde Geronimi again, Wilfred Jackson, Hamilton Lusky. It's initially mixed reception, but later cult classic status. 25 million on initial release and reissues. It's got this episodic and kind of surreal structure, very strong influence from Lewis Carroll's illustrations. And, Catherine Beaumont also is in Peter Pan, doing the voice of Alice here, and of Wendy in the other film. What a classic voice she has! And this is the same director as Cinderella and Peter Pan. Oh, what are we talking about? The same director as what movies? I don't know. Has anybody mentioned Cinderella and Peter Pan? Maybe we will. Soon enough. For those of you who don't know the basic premise of Alice in Wonderland, which has gone on to have so many other forms beyond this, and of course forms before this, Alice falls down the rabbit hole into a surreal world filled with eccentric characters and nonsensical logic. And after a series of bizarre encounters, she awakens, realizing the adventure was a dream. But what she learns and the people she discovers and the personalities that she goes up against, from the fucking evil queen who's off with everybody's head, and and anything that goes wrong, she's like gonna murder you. The amazing abstract Cheshire Cat who's appearing and disappearing and taking his head off, and the Mad Hatter and the March Hare, and it just like, oh, what wonderful. I mean, these were already iconic and incredible characters and ideas. And there's even more of them in the original Alice in Wonderland books and series, like the Jabberwocky who doesn't show up in the book, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, the story of the carpenter and the clams, like just so, or the walrus and the carpenter. That's what it is, the walrus and the carpenter. Dude, I kind of had this situation with like Alice in Wonderland where I just kind of kept going, really deserves to be higher on the list. Just really deserves to be higher on the list. Memorable songs. You can learn a lot of things from the flowers, especially in the month of June. There's some great stuff in here. The trip. I mean, I wasn't a psychedelic plant medicine man when I was watching this movie as a kid. The trippiness of her growing big and going small, and there's so much interesting psychological, subconscious, subtle things being said in Alice in Wonderland. It is such a, not only is it worth watching, it's worth analyzing. It's worth dissecting. It's worth watching people dissect and analyze. And it's worth going and reading the original book. I never got through the original book, not because it wasn't good. But I was interested in it. I had gotten it, like I had ended up with it on like my iPad or something like that. And I just tend to not read that much on my iPad. I don't like to read on the iPad as much as I like to read like a book in my hand. So a lot of times there's a bunch of stories in there that I've read a lot of them because like, oh, I want to read Treasure Island, whatever. But for one reason or another, I'll always just kind of forget and never finish it. So I've never finished the original book, but it was quite cool. And to go back and see some of the things that were actually depicted in the book and how it was actually depicted, and a little bit more heavy and a little bit more serious in some ways, and a little bit more trippy and surreal. Alice in Wonderland is just one of those movies that is as classic as they come, and hard to deny the glory of. So yeah, that's it. Number 11, Alice in Wonderland. Now, my friends, let's get into this. This is the top 10. The top 10 Disney animated films of all time. And the first one I want to talk about is Cinderella. Cinderella! Cinderella, Cinderella, try to help us, Cinderella. She will make our dress so pretty. There's nothing to it really. We'll tie a sash around it, put a ribbon through it, and dancing at the ball she'll be more beautiful than all for the lovely dress we make for Cinderella. Oh, fucking A, man. I guess I'm like a little girly boy. Seeing these princesses that would be like interacting with all these animals. I grew up just wanting to be one. I wanted to be Snow White so badly. I wanted to clean my house with a bunch of squirrels and chipmunks and deers and shit hanging out and rabbits. Like, that seems so appealing to me. And Cinderella was like almost even better because she like was just regularly interacting with all of these animals. They were her friends. They were the friends that she had made. Like, I mean, imagine that you were like living in a house where like there were mice or rats, and instead of being like, oh no, there's a mouse, she's literally like, I'll make him a hat. That one's named Gus Gus. That one's name is. It's really funny when you think about it like that. Like, who does this? Only the most wonderful person ever who you would want to marry. And, oh, God, the fucking fairy godmother and bibbity bobbity boom. Bibbity bobbity boom. A salakadoola, mechikaboola, bibbity bobbity boo. You can do magic, believe it or not. Bibbity bobbity boo. Made in 1950. This is, once again, Clyde Geronimi, Wilfred Jackson, Hamilton Lusky, produced by Walt Disney. This saved Disney financially after World War II. They were really struggling. This was a massive merchandise success. And why wouldn't it be? $96 million at the box office with reissues, which is worth way more now. One of the Disney's most iconic princess films, period. And this established the formula for future fairy tale adaptations. There are other fairy tales were a little bit more like pretty and light and charming and beautiful, like Sleeping Beauty. And this was just had more humor in it. It had more direct songs that seemed like, I don't know, more crucial to it all. I don't know if that's maybe the right way to describe it, but they were just more meaningful and impactful, some of these songs from Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo and what was the other one I was singing before? Cinderella. This is, of course, the same directing team as a number of movies, including Peter Pan. Where's Peter Pan on your list, Jesse? I don't know. Shh, shut up. The fairy godmother, the fucking pumpkin turning into the chariot, the dog turning into the driver, leaving behind that glass slipper, searching the kingdom for the woman who fits the shoe. Which, of course, is a bit of a weird premise. There's probably more than one woman who has approximately the same foot size. Although I suppose if your magical slipper was made by a fairy godmother, it would probably fit exactly to your foot. But I'm remembering that scene with the fucking ugly stepsisters and them trying to lodge their enormous, horrible-looking feet into these shoes. I've never been a big feet guy. I really don't care for feet very much, and it's just very funny. Just those gnarly ass feet, and they're like, "Oh, it fits!" And the shoes like flies off their foot across the room, because they want to marry the prince, but the vibe was that her and the prince just kind of jibed. Their energy matched. They loved each other. It was love at first sight. And love at first sight depicted in such a beautiful way. I've never seen love at first sight handled so just effortlessly, and Cinderella is just so classic in the similar way that Alice in Wonderland is so classic, but Alice in Wonderland may be just kind of trippy, and Cinderella just makes you want to fall in love. And perhaps this is the film we have to blame, all of us generations of people with romance in our hearts. But I still believe in romance. I still think of myself as romantic. And I like to think that Cinderella is the movie that really solidified that spirit of magic and belief and love for me. And really the best part is just that assistance. So often we feel like we're alone and we're abandoned. And Cinderella is, she's lost her father and she's living with this terrible fucking wicked stepmother who's just a nightmare person, superficial and cruel. And her daughters. And Cinderella's good. She's truly good. But she has nobody. And then one day along comes her fairy godmother to help her, to give her a leg up. to show her that she is worth something, that it's not all loss, that there's magic in this world. And just the classic bits of like, oh no, after midnight, I'm gonna turn into a pumpkin. I've been saying for all my life, I say, I'm about to turn into a pumpkin, so I gotta get out of here. I love that saying. I use that constantly. Oh, we turning into a pumpkin? Is the time up on that magic spell that allowed you to come here and interact with me and be your magical self? Anything like that, any film like that, any story like that, where you take so much out of it and bring it into your life, you take from the pop culture and you're living regularly, thinking back to something like this. That is the magic of storytelling, of cinema, of song, of entertainment. And Cinderella is definitely one of the films that taught me that magic. So now, that was number 10, the first breaking into the 10, Cinderella. At number 9 on our list, we have one of my favorites of all time. I'm kind of like, I don't know if the one that I placed in here, it's at number 8 right now. I don't know if it should it should be number 9, and number 8 should be what it is in my original list. But as of right now, I'll just stick with what I said. At number 9, I've got Beauty and the Beast. This was released in 1991. Angela Lansbury coming in to play Mrs. Potts. It's directed by Gary Trousdale and Kirk Weiss. It's the first animated film nominated for Best Picture. Major Disney Renaissance milestone. It's 424 million worldwide. The most iconic songs by Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. This is the one. If you're picking between Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and Beauty and the Beast, pick Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is incredible. They used CAPS here, which is the digital coloring system, which was a major breakthrough at the time. And Alan Menken would go on to do music for many Disney animated films afterwards. And I like Alan. His stuff's good. But Howard Ashman is just one of the most talented people who has ever lived on planet Earth. And one of the things that he taught in terms of like making a great musical and making music in a musical that matters to the plot, that it's important for every song in a musical to be an opportunity to give character. And nothing represents that better, I think, than the opening track with Belle walking through her town. There goes his baker with his cake like always. Da, 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 da. And you might say, well, she's describing other people in the town and whatnot. What is this saying about her? It's saying that she's observant. She knows everybody in her town. She's grown up in a little town. It says how small this town is, how everybody knows each other, how she's different. Here are all these people, but she's not really like them. She's a much different kind of person. She likes to read. She likes to imagine. And she ends up in this incredible adventure. And you've got Gaston, who is one of the fucking greatest Disney bad guys, who is both funny and endearing, or charming. And at the same time, you're like, fuck this guy. You just want to see him get his ass kicked by the Beast. The Beast is one of the greatest protagonists of any of these films. Just the character who has fucking learned his lesson. He made a fucking stupid mistake, and now he is paying for it. And not only is he paying for it, his whole kingdom is paying for it. They've all been transformed into inanimate objects, or what is supposed to be inanimate objects. Belle, a book-loving young woman, becomes a prisoner in a cursed castle where a prince has been transformed into a beast. As she gets to know him, love breaks the spell, teaching that true beauty lies within. It's wonderful. Beauty, the yeah, as old as time, la 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 la, be our guest. There are just so many wonderful songs in this film. They all play. The fucking Gaston song is so funny and fun. No one gets like Gaston. No one's like Gaston in a wrestling match. Nobody bites like Gaston. He's a fucking fuck, that guy. Her relationship with her dad, Belle's inventor dad, who also, you understand Belle because her father's an inventor. He's somebody thinking outside of the box. He's trying to make the world a better place through inventions and whatnot, but he's also somebody who gets himself in trouble sometimes because he's willing to take risks the same way that Belle's willing to take risks and risk for him to save him, and ultimately having to exchange herself with the Beast in the Beast Castle to save her dad. She ends up in the Beast Castle. And then within that context, she becomes sort of a possible mechanism to break the spell. And, essentially the whole movie is about like that spell breaking. And of course, it'd be like one thing if it was just this dicky prince and like him breaking the spell, but it's all of his constituents. Because of what the Beast did, everybody's fucked. Everybody's screwed in that kingdom. But maybe Belle, maybe this wonderful girl, maybe somehow she could break the spell. And that bit of sort of teamwork, Lumiere and Cogsworth, bless me, sorry, I just had some ice cream. Cogsworth and all these people that are coming together to help charm Belle and help give space to the Beast and advise him a little bit, even though, imagine if you had made such a terrible mistake and it cost you your whole kingdom and it hurt your whole kingdom. Like, I mean, boy, would you, realize fast, how your actions affect everybody else. And there's just so much pathos or fucking, I don't know, depth to that choice, that conversation about what he did and how it affected everybody, and the idea that he's going to get out of it, and and somebody like him who literally he rejected some ugly person in the very beginning of the movie. Now this beautiful person isn't going to reject him the same way he rejected ugliness. Oh, ew, wow, what a predicament. It really is. Beauty and the Beast is the ultimate predicament, and it is one of the best Broadway shows I've ever seen in my life. Beauty and the Beast, the set pieces and really the set pieces in the animation were so strong, from the townsfolk, and the cute little town, and the castle and the different rooms in the castle, like where they have the wilting flower. What an amazing visual! The flower slowly dropping petals over time. You get a generation of women who are in love with the big, hairy, scary Beast because of how meaningful the story is and the transformation and the idea of people changing and that the right person can bring out the best in people. And it's funny, I think a lot of people have misconstrued that into like, don't worry, I just got to work on the Beast until he's better. That's not what happens in Beauty and the Beast. She didn't come into that relationship and she made him into the man she wanted. She, through her own actions, inspires the Beast to change and to be different because he's inspired by her. She is living the change. She is the change she wants to see in the world. She is it. And he experiences her and goes, I want to be this change in the world too, ultimately. That's the magic of Beauty and the Beast. That's the magic of the love story there and everything on display. It's such a favorite of mine, and it's like I feel like it's that rare thing kind of targeted for girls that I think is just as equally like powerful for boys, and there's just as many lessons and whatnot. I mean, like you're dealing with somebody who just said Cinderella is top 10 for me of Disney animated, and it is, but. Beauty and the Beast is like a more reasonable one for a lot of boys to go, this is awesome. I love this, and I'm not going to apologize for it. So there you have it, guys. Beauty and the Beast. Oh, did I get all of the bits? Yeah. I talked about all that. Okay. So right now we've got the one that I had to slip in, and I put it in at number 8. And yeah, I guess for me, this is a little bit ahead of Beauty and the Beast. It's so classic. I have watched and loved so many versions of this same story, but for me, I realized that this was my first experience with this story. And I love this story and I love the way it was handled and executed. I told you earlier, I'm a big Scrooge McDuck fan, and they cast this film with existing Disney animated characters, and it is just cast so wonderfully. And that is Mickey's Christmas Carol, released in 1983, a year after I was born. Produced by Walt Disney Productions, based on the classic novella A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, written in 1843. First theatrical appearance of Mickey Mouse in 30 years since the 1953 short The Simple Things. I didn't even know that this came out in the box office until I was like asking about it. This features many classic Disney characters in the cast in Dickens' role, including Mickey Mouse as Bob Cratchit, Scrooge McDuck as Ebenezer Scrooge, Donald Duck as Fred, which is Ebenezer's nephew, which of course he was the nephew in DuckTales and whatnot. And of course, I think this was a precursor to Duck 83. So DuckTales came later. Like so many of these things, like this was like built upon with DuckTales and the Treasure of the Lost Lamp and all that stuff. Goofy playing Jacob Marley, who is still kind of scary because he's a ghost. Of course, it's Goofy, but the ghosts, the ghost of Christmas Present, played by the giant from Fun and Fancy Free, from the Jack and the Beanstalk story. What a great use of that giant and bringing him back, because he was a great character, and to bring him back here, just so wonderful. This was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film. The runtime is technically only 26 minutes. I was on the fence of whether or not to include it or not. At the same time, there's so much going on. It's so impactful at 26 minutes to tell the fucking story of A Christmas Carol, and to tell it so well. I just find it wonderful. You know, this is, of course, the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, played by Scrooge McDuck. And he's cold, greedy man who cares only about money and has no compassion for others, even on Christmas. His underpaid clerk, Bob Cratchit, played by Mickey Mouse, struggles to support his family, including his sixth son, Tiny Tim. On Christmas Eve, Scrooge is visited by the ghost of his former business partner, Jacob Marley, played by Goofy, who warns him that his selfish life will lead to misery. Marley tells him he will be visited by three spirits. The ghost of Christmas past shows Scrooge his younger days when he was happier and in love before greed consumed him. Ghost of Christmas present reveals the Cratchit family's humble but joyful Christmas and Tiny Tim's fragile condition. And 3, the ghost of Christmas yet to come shows a dark future where Tiny Tim has died and Scrooge himself is unmourned after his death. Terrified and fucking remorseful, Scrooge wakes up on Christmas morning determined to change. Damn you, Mickey Christmas Carol, making me cry. It's so wonderful. It's just such a wonderful classic story. I have been updating my greatest films of all time list. And at the top of my list is a miniseries, a 3-part miniseries, FX's Christmas Carol, where Scrooge is played by Guy Pearce. My love for the Christmas Carol story starts here, and it is incredible. From this, Scrooge wakes up determined to change. He becomes generous, helps the Cratchit family, and embraces the spirit of Christmas. Just one of the greatest stories ever of redemption and personal change. Generosity versus greed, compassion for others, the true meaning of Christmas and giving. It's such a wonderful, wonderful story. And to be able to take these Disney characters and just place them into the story. You know, because Scrooge, I think, had been invented earlier than that, but I think Scrooge's name came from the thing. So let's tell A Christmas Carol with Scrooge and Mickey, the perfect Bob Cratchit. Who's better than fucking Mickey to play Bob Cratchit? I mean, Kermit was a reasonable Bob Cratchit too. but Scrooge. And then who better to play the annoying nephew who loves Christmas than Donald Duck? Here's Scrooge, and here's a fucking annoying nephew. Scrooge. I can't do a good Donald, but hey, Scrooge, like Christmas, and like, let's enjoy Christmas. Like, This film, the short, is one of the most incredible pieces of animation ever made. And I don't understand how it didn't win the Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film. I want to know what won that year instead of this, because this has gone on to be such a universal classic. If you see this, you will remember it for the rest of your life. It's just one of the best, one of the greatest versions of this story. It goes by pretty fast, 26 minutes, and it will light you up. By the end of it, when you see Scrooge McDuck running around, a changed man, you will be so gratified. And it almost feels like you love Scrooge McDuck because you see this part of him. You see this story where he learns something. And some of that, I think, crept into the DuckTales. There's always a little piece of him that had a heart. And always seemed like, for me as a kid, I was always like, well, that's because he learned the spirit of Christmas. Because that's what you do when you go through the night with the three ghosts who are going to fucking freak you out. But don't worry, you're going to learn and you're going to grow. It's going to be wonderful. Yeah, this was the one that I forgot. When I realized it was a short, I thought, do I not put it in? I'm like, no, man, because it did not read a short for me. It does not come off as a short. And I mean, the giant Beanstalk, the Fun and Fancy Free, that's on the list too. And I think that actual portion of the Fun and Fancy Free story is probably like 26 minutes as well. It's not a full feature length, whatever. And I mean, Hulk versus Wolverine, Hulk versus Thor, I think they're over an hour. Maybe they're not even, though. Maybe they're 48 minutes or something like that. But they're great. Wonderful, wonderful animated films. So for me, if it's memorable enough to really, really stick with you, and there's more going on there, to talk about, I decided to keep it on the list. And I really believe that I did the right thing here. All right. So that is number 8. Getting to number 7, Peter Pan. Peter Pan takes Wendy and her brothers to Neverland, where they encounter pirates, mermaids, and the villainous Captain Hook. After adventures that test their courage and imagination, Wendy realizes the importance of growing up and returns home. Never smile at a crocodile, or you can fly, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly. Peter Pan is awesome, dude. Released in 1953. And Catherine Beaumont in the role of Wendy, kicking ass there. Directors Clyde Geronimi, Wilfred Jackson, Hamilton Lusky, who have directed so many of the incredible films that are on this list already. This is one of Disney's enduring classics. 87 million at the box office with reissues, and of course with inflation, that's like way, way, way more. I might sneeze. Oh, God bless me. This is, of course, based on J.M. Barrie's play, and some elements are controversial today in the portrayals, but it's fucking stupid. Peter Pan is timeless, classic, wonderful. Catherine Beaumont is also the voice of Alice in Wonderland, as I had said earlier in the show, and she was really great. I mean, just like little things like that where they would reuse some of these voices. But, it would be animated differently. Like, I didn't notice. It just seemed familiar to me. Like it was years later where somebody's like, Alice in Wonderland, Wendy have the same voice. And I'm like, oh, they do. So I never, it's like, it wasn't something that was bothersome. It was just sort of like Disney would use some of these people who were really wonderful. They're really talented voiceover actors. They had charisma that came through. The dude who does Baloo's voice, he definitely got used a bunch. I was a big fan of that, sort of the use and reuse, even the reuse of animation stuff when they were trying to cut corners and save money. You know, they would actually use whole sequences from other movies and whatnot to animate based around them to save money and make it easier and faster to get done. But Peter Pan, another one of those, just like Cinderella and Alice in Wonderland, Beauty and the Beast, that are just so classic. There's just so many things. You know, what's your happy thought? Happy thought to fly. Sewing your shadow, trying to sew your shadow to your body because I lost my shadow and I'm running around the playroom trying to get my shadow back. The Lost Boys versus the pirates. The pirate who took Hook's hand and is following him around because he's got a taste for Hook and he wants more. Shmi, later immortalized again and even better by Bob Hoskins in the Hook film by Steven Spielberg. Just the amount of iconic things in here. Tiger Lily, who Peter Pan was in love with. I was in love with Tiger Lily. This beautiful chief's daughter. Why is the red man red? How many fucking times in my life have I been walking around and my kids are behind me or whatever else, or I'm behind somebody going, I'm following the leader, the leader, the leader. We're following the leader because he told me so. Hee-ho, hee-dee, ha-tiddly-da-dee-day. I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away. It's so good. There's so much to like about Peter Pan. Just so many iconic moments. Before you believed a man could fly in Superman, there was Peter Pan. Peter Pan flying with his happy thoughts. Never to grow up. From Never Never Land, second star to the right and straight on till morning. Beautiful. How can you not love Peter Pan? And number 6 on my list. And actually, wait a second. Did I technically... Yeah. Well, did I... Peter Pan takes Wendy and her brothers to Neverland, where they encounter pirates, mermaids, villains, Captain Hook, adventures, test courage and imagination. I did that. Okay, at number 6, we're getting close to the top 5. Number 6, one of my fucking favorite animated films of all time. And one of my favorite Disneys. I'm actually kind of surprised that it's not higher on the list to a certain degree. Kind of like, I really struggled to whether or not it should be in the top 5. Because for me, it's like always been in the top 5. But you'll see what my top 5 is. Number 6 is Robin Hood. A clever fox robs from the greedy Prince John to give to the poor while evading capture. With the help of his friends, he inspires rebellion and ultimately restores justice to Nottingham. Released in 1973, Wolfgang Reitherman is the director. It's fucking cult classic status, but more over time. $32 million initially, much higher with reissues. Was a lot of recycled animation from earlier Disney films. Anthropomorphic animal reinterpretation of Robin Hood, and it is just amazing. Amazing. Baloo the bear playing Little John. This is just the classic story of Robin Hood and Maid Marian and her in this case her hen friend who is what's the lady's name who's like watching her. She's so fucking funny in this movie. The kind of stout hen who's very easily excitable and trying to protect Maid Marian from everything. She's just so wonderful. The Sheriff of Nottingham is awful in the best way, and Prince John sucking his thumb, and the fucking snake from Jungle Book as his little like advisor. Just the opening bit and the song Robin Hood and Little John running through the forest, jumping back and forth what the other has to say, reminiscing this and that, and having such a good time. Oodalali, golly, what a day. The opening is so classic. The closing is so classic. Do 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 do. With that bard, the rooster bard who's telling the story. Let me tell you a story about Robin Hood. Like, that guy was so cool. I loved his voice. I loved his energy, his style, and he's telling a story about fucking Robin Hood, who's one of the coolest people ever. Fucking robbed from the rich and gave to the poor. Tried to bring a little balance back into this world. What a wonderful story. Something that we need now more than ever. Robin Hood, man. And a fox. Perfect casting. What kind of animal is Robin Hood? He's a fox. And what kind of animal is Maid Marian? She's a fox. He's a fox, and so is she. Shout out to my girl Julie Bright. You're a fox too, baby. She calls me Fox. It's funny because from her calling me Fox, me and one of my best friends, Digger, who's my roommate out in New York, me and Digger are very similar. We have like really big energy, and we kind of like just go with our guts, and we'll just sort of explode into a room or whatever else. And me, the Fox, I always kind of like I'll like smash into things and stuff, but I like ricochet off. Well, I'm the fox. He's the ox. He breaks everything. Everything just breaks. The fox and the ox. But the depiction, just the choice of animals for the film, and in like the little kids, the little rabbit family that he goes to help, is one of the main focuses of like some of these villagers who are being helped, and Little John as the big bear friend of his. The scenes in the beginning of the movie where they go to harass Little John, I mean King John, and is it King John or King Richard? What is it? Fucking Prince John. They are so good. Going into his wagon to fortune tell for him and kissing his rings, and they suck all of the rubies off of the rings, and now all the rings are just the metal holders, but without the actual the place settings, but without the jewels. And they smile, and all the jewels are in their teeth. And and he's doing his fortune telling reading while Little John's putting a hole in the bottom of the other thing and taking all the money out. And then constantly, what's his fucking name? Hiss or whatever. The snake guy is trying to warn him about what's going on, and he's just constantly annoyed by Hiss. And shut up! I'm listening to something. And he's like, why didn't you tell me? It's just so funny, so entertaining. Friar Tuck is just wonderful, and it's kind of sad in the right ways. And like I said, Maid Marian's friend, her little maid or whatever. Just everything about this movie is great. And then the culmination of the arrow shooting contest, something that he would not be able to resist. We're going to see who's the best archer at all the land. And of course, Robin Hood has to dress up as a stork and go and do the thing. This movie always made me feel real stakes. I really was genuinely worried about Robin as a kid. Watching it, I was worried about all the people. I was worried about everybody, that they didn't have enough money, that they were starving, they were suffering, and this guy was the only guy trying to do something about it. And the sheriff of Nottingham is great. He's like this just gnarly gray dog, and a great voice. Just kind of whistly kind of country voice. Oh, that's all right for me. I come to collect the taxes. He's just a fuck, and Hiss is a fuck, and the Prince John is a fuck. It's all so well done. The bad guys are gloriously bad. The good guys are wonderfully wonderful. And if you've never seen Disney's Robin Hood, do yourself a favor, because as far as I'm concerned, it is the single greatest version of this classic story that's ever been told. One of those things where turning the characters into animals somehow just makes the telling of the story that much more powerful. Down to the little peasant turtle with glasses who's nerdy and nebbish, and it's all so wonderful, man. Robin Hood. Love you, Robin Hood. Thank you for being a part of my life. All right, guys. We did it. We're in the top 5. It's the top 5. Top 5. Top 5. I feel alive in the top 5. Okay, top 5. At number 5. It's The Incredibles, released in 2004. Craig T. Nelson as Mr. Incredible, Holly Hunter as Elastigirl, later Mrs. Incredible, Samuel L. Jackson as Frozone. Honey, where is my super suit? Why do you want to know? Give me my super suit, woman! You really cannot beat Incredibles. It's the greatest Fantastic Four movie ever made. It's directed by Brad Bird. I'm an even bigger fan of The Iron Giant, but The Incredibles. The Incredibles is just... It's just so well done. It sets up its world so well, and it really just makes you want to spend more time there. It leaves you with so many questions. There's just so much that you... It's funny, on my list of animated classics that aren't made by Disney, The Iron Giant is number 4. I guess I was gonna say I like The Iron Giant better than The Incredibles. It better be higher on my on my list than The Incredibles, and it is by one. Um, this is one of Pixar's biggest critical and commercial hits. You know, they got Brad Bird after because he showed himself to be so friggin' brilliant on the Iron Giant. Of course, he went on to also do Ratatouille, which is another great one. And this won an Academy Award for animated feature. It made $631 million at the box office. It's the first Pixar film centered on humans extensively, and it influenced superhero genre before the MCU boom that came later. And I mean, really, absolutely did. The way they handled this stuff elevated the material in so many different ways. I mean, there's definitely a little bit of an influence from Alan Moore's Watchmen and other things, but essentially they're telling the story of the Fantastic Four, a family of superheroes who work together to make the world a better place. The Incredibles is incredible. The plot for Incredibles is kind of complex, I guess you would say. The former superhero Mr. Incredible is drawn back into action by a mysterious job, only to uncover a villain's plot to eliminate all supes. And he's been doing it for a long time. But he's kind of been looking for Mr. Incredible, and he's been testing out this killing machine to make sure that it's something that no hero can defeat. And he finally brings in Mr. Incredible. With his family joining him eventually after he goes missing, the Pars. They rediscover their powers and unity because like these kids have powers, but they've been suppressing them because the government has outlawed superheroes, and he's being a superhero with Frozone on the side in secret, and he's doing this thing. He takes this job because it gives him an opportunity to be a superhero on some level, but only to find out that this is a bad guy, and he's got he's killed multiple people. He's gonna kill you. I tell you what, the behind the scenes and the story of like what he did leading up to the Incredibles thing is very dark and very cool. My son Cassidy was recently telling me, he's like, the behind the scenes and the story of this guy died and that guy died. It's like really interesting, and it really is worth checking out. In the end, they have to go back to the planet and stop this threat, this thing that this villain invented. And embrace their identities as superheroes and theoretically sort of reopen the world to the idea of superheroes existing and it being a good thing. The Incredibles is incredible. The sequel, The Incredibles 2, I find to be half incredible and half terrible. The Ellen Parr stuff, the Elastigirl stuff is terrible. It's really just boring, and there's not much to like about her half of the story. Her half of the story is just not engaging. But the other half of the story with Mr. Incredible dealing with Jack as he gets his powers is really great. I wish I could do a cut down version of the movie where it was just that half, because I would watch that stuff over and over again, actually. And the other part of the movie just makes me not want to spend too much time watching that. But the original Incredibles is absolutely wonderful, and if you've not spent the time to enjoy it, please do so now. No, right now. Go do it right now. All right, number 4, we've got Tangled. Rapunzel, a princess with magical hair, imprisoned in a tower, escapes with charming thief Flynn Rider to see the floating lanterns she's long dreamed of. Through their journey, she discovers her true identity, confronts her manipulative captor, Mother Gothel, and finds freedom and love. This movie's got some great villains. Mother Gothel, in particular, is a really strong personality and shitty character. What's his name plays the Hellboy plays the two twins who start out as Flynn Rider's partners, and he kind of double crosses them and they become bad guys later in the movie. Mandy Moore's the lead. Zachary Levi, who I just adore in this role as Flynn Rider. is so good. He's so good. He's so funny. This movie is genuinely funny. You will laugh out loud multiple times. It's directed by Nathan Greno and Brian Howard. This marked Disney's return to fairy tale musicals. This movie is the reason why Frozen was as big a success as it was. This primed the pump for people to pay attention to Disney and what they were doing again. People who were fans of Disney were like, oh man, they're back. They're doing it. It looked beautiful. The designs were beautiful. They took those same designs. They brought them into Frozen. But this one looks even better as far as I'm concerned. Frozen is like some person trying too hard to be overly gorgeous. Look at it, it's all white and blue and bleh. But Tangled is just charming and sweet, and it looks like one of those brilliant, crazy, I don't know the name of the painters, one of those just beautiful Kincaid paintings or whatever that you might see, brought to life. So beautiful. Her tower, so many things. And it contains one of the greatest Disney animated characters I have ever experienced in my life, and that is Maximus, the horse. The fucking horse. One of the soldiers has a horse. His name is Maximus. He ends up throwing the guy who's like the leader of the soldiers who are looking for Flynn Rider. He ends up losing his rider, but he doesn't stop the mission. This horse is determined to find Flynn Rider on his own. There is a scene in the movie where Flynn has a frying pan and the horse has a sword in his mouth, and they are fighting, having a sword fight. And as they're having a sword fight, Flynn Rider says, in the greatest delivery ever, "This is the strangest thing I have ever done." This is the strangest thing I've ever done, fighting a frying pan against a horse with a sword. Maximus is such a great character. He's so funny. Flynn is such a great character, so funny, but also charming, sweet. You understand the romance and how they fall in love and all the things, and you want it to work out for them all. Rapunzel's repression by her mother, locked away, taken from her true parents, her true people, only to be manipulated in all these different ways, and her to slowly find out what's really going on. The beautifulness of the lanterns, and think of how many freaking beautiful flying lanterns that you see all over the place, and how often that's sort of referenced now, or something that we see because people saw it here and then went, oh my goodness, how beautiful. The movie's beautiful. It's beautiful in the way the story's told. There's lots of great fun songs in it, not to least of which is the wonderful song when she goes into the bar that's just filled with all the criminals and rapscallions, and she goes in there, and of course she charms the pants off of all of them and makes them all appreciate who she is, and by the end of the film, these guys who we were supposed to be terrified of have helped her multiple times, and she never would have been able to survive any of this without all of these scary people in the world that her mother told her, you can't go out into the world, they'll take you, they'll hurt you, they'll do all these things. And no, the only person who was really doing that to her was the mother. Tangled was the movie that made me go, Disney's back. They got it. Disney Animation's back. And for a while there were so many great ones after this, especially as John Lasseter freaking got his shit together and got in there and was helping as they bought Pixar and all this stuff. Oh man, what a wonderful movie Tangled is. It will always be one of my favorite films ever, and definitely one of my favorite Disney animated films of all time. All right, we are getting into my top 3, and really that top 4. I do feel like Robin Hood should be 5, maybe Incredibles maybe should be 6, but yeah, I'm solidifying that. Robin Hood at number 5, Tangled at number 4, at number 3, The Sword and the Stone. Sword and the Stone is one of my favorite movies of all time. I've watched it so many times. It came out in 1963. Wolfgang Reitman did the directing. Walt Disney was a producer. This was a modest success, but became a TV staple later. I would watch this thing over and over and over again. 22 million initial plus reissues. And of course, with inflation, it has been a big hit over time. It's the first Disney film released after Walt shifted focus from animation oversight. Xerox graphy animation style, which is a sketchier look, is here. And Reitman also, of course, directed The Jungle Book and my other favorite, Robin Hood. The Sword and the Stone tells the story of young orphan Wart, who becomes apprentice to the wizard Merlin, who educates him through magical transformations and life lessons about knowledge and humility. Wart ultimately pulls the legendary sword from the stone, revealing himself as the rightful King Arthur. This, for me, is the greatest of all of the depictions of the King Arthur story, just like the other one is my favorite of the Robin Hood, except no anthropomorphic animals here. The story of Merlin training a young King Arthur before he is King Arthur, seeing him pull the sword from the stone, seeing how everybody treated him before, seeing how they treat him afterwards, the sweet innocence of young Wart, learning all of these lessons, getting turned into a fish and going into the moat, and the fucking scariness of the friggin' barracuda-like thing that's like hunting them down there, the weird love thing that happens between him and the squirrels when he gets turned into the squirrel, the most incredible end fight, end climax to any of the friggin' Disney movies ever, Madame Mim having to do a wizard's duel with Merlin, where she cheats, and them just transforming into all these different animals to try to crush and kill each other. Madame Mim is my favorite of all the Disney villains ever. Wonderful Madame Mim. She's just so fucking funny and so cool. I love Madame Mim. The fact that I don't have a Madame Mim t-shirt in my collection is a fucking crime. If anybody wants to find me an awesome Madame Mim t-shirt, because I basically have never seen one, find me a Madame Mim t-shirt, send it to me somehow. My email is jbs@blacklightdistrict.studio. You figure out how to get me a Madame Mim shirt, because I'm looking. I need one. I need a really good one. The Sword and Stone is just amazing. It's just an amazing way to start off any journey into, like, if you're going to watch some King Arthur movie of any variety, watch this one first. Watch young Wart learning from Merlin and becoming the guy who will eventually be King Arthur, the man who invents a round table where we are all equal. We sit at a round table about equality, about treating people the right way. That's important to me. And this movie meant a lot. The type of person he was, the type of things he would do. And the way this story was told, Merlin's packing up all of his shit with magic and taking all of his shit out. He's up in this castle tower that they put him in, and it's just leaky and rainy. There's just so many glorious bits of comedy. Archimedes is Merlin's owl, and their relationship is very funny. Archimedes is just very... inciting to Merlin. You know, he just really pisses Merlin off a lot. I find very funny. Like I said, the relationship between the people who are raising Wart and, you know, Arthur, and how how he's being treated, and, you know, like what his place in the world is prior to them realizing he's the chosen one. He pulls the sword from the stone. And of course, what better moment is that than seeing the sword pulled from the stone? And then they put it back in. Somebody pull it. Nobody can pull it. Let the boy try again. And then there it comes. The sword comes out of the stone. He is Arthur, King of the Britons. Love that one. I will always have some major nostalgia for it. All right, we're getting to our final two. And oh boy, when I realized that I loved this movie more than I loved any other Disney animated film, and and I think technically speaking, they weren't even necessarily. I think they were distributed by Disney at that point, or from the beginning, maybe distributed by Disney, but actually owned by Disney and whatnot. I realized one day I like this Pixar film better than any Disney animated film I've ever seen. Of course, that would change with our number one option, which I'm going to reveal in a second. But at number 2, Monsters Incorporated. I love Monsters, Inc. I wrote a legitimate sequel to Monsters, Inc. for the comics. I pitched it to Boom Studios, who had the licenses for Pixar. It was great. It was approved, but Boom Studios, they only ever did one miniseries of Monsters, Inc. They never did any more. I would have loved to see a sequel in the vein of what I did. I don't really like that prequel that they did. It's good. It's enjoyable. I like, but it's just not a favorite of mine. But Monsters, Inc. is. In a world where monsters generate power by scaring children, top scarer Sully and his partner Mike discover a human child, Boo, who accidentally enters their world. As they try to return her home, they uncover a conspiracy about the energy system and realize laughter is more powerful than fear, changing their entire society. I mean, the weird, not coincidental fact that this is exposing so many things that are exposed in religious texts about archons, about demonic possession. There are energetic beings in our reality because we are living in a mental reality. There are ideas essentially that exist on the other side of physical creation that are predating upon humanity all the time. The reason why they call alcohol spirits is because the spirits will come into your body and take over. You're like, I blacked out and I did what? Yeah, like an energy that exists in the environment came in, used your body for a few minutes, and did some nuts stuff. This idea that they are eating our energy, feeding on our fear. But laughter is more powerful. Feeding on love is more powerful. And that is, of course, true as well, that the love energy is a more powerful energy. That's wonderful that it's like deep and layered. But really, the thing that gets me and the reason why I love this movie so much, not just the cast, it's just a very simple premise that the number one movie on this list does even better, which is the strong masculine coming in to protect the weak feminine. Seeing a need to guard something, to protect innocence. I just was so moved by this from the very beginning. And even having to fight against his best friend in the process, his best friend who's not so, so heroic in that way, and he's just going to do what he's supposed to do. Played by Billy Crystal is Mike Wazowski. Played by John Goodman is Sully. And Sully's character and the love that he has for this innocent little girl that he realizes she's not scary. There's nothing wrong with her. They shouldn't be afraid of her. She's just an innocent little kid. When this movie came out in 2001, I saw it with my ex-wife. I mean, like I said, her and I are huge Disney fans. It's directed by Peter Docter, and we were just blown away by this movie. So happy, so thrilled. And watched it so many times. There's still pictures of us posing with Sully and Mike Wazowski. There was like statues that were out of theater. At bigger theaters, they had like these statues that they put out. It's just, it was a major Pixar hit. 577 million worldwide. Spawned the prequel, which I'm not a big fan of. But Sully and Mike are such iconic characters. This advanced fur rendering in CGI majorly because they had to for Sully. Really upgraded a lot of what was going on at the time in sort of computer animation. And this is just an early Pixar emotional storytelling benchmark. Peter Docter, he went on to direct Up and Inside Out. He is so talented. I could just tell that man has a heart of gold from all of the wonderful tears that he has wrenched out of me over the years and all of the feelings that he has wrenched out of me. The voice cast from Steve Buscemi as Randall, who's a great bad guy, and Mr. Waternoose, who's played by I'm gonna forget dude's name. Classic actor James Coburn, awesome. And then even smaller things like Randall's assistant is played by Frank Oz, who's great, and Jennifer Tilly, who just has a very unique voice playing Celia, the Medusa chick. It's just awesome. And then you get Ratzenberger, who's somebody who shows up in lots and lots of Pixar movies, John Ratzenberger, playing the Yeti, which was the mythology of this place where they're coming through your closet and they're scaring you, and then they disappear into Monstropolis where they've got all of your screams and they're getting their power. But that the Bigfoots and Yetis and Jersey Devils, all of these cryptids that we hear about on Earth, that they were real. They were monsters that had been exiled to the human world. the mythology of that. I had so many things that I wanted to add to this mythology. And I did so in my outline that I did for what I called Monsters Incorporated 2, which, oh man, still to this day, maybe one day I will somehow get to pitch them on fucking Monsters Inc. 2, because it's just one of the greatest pitches I ever wrote. And it's one of the greatest pitches I ever wrote because it's one of the greatest animated films that I've ever seen. I genuinely loved it so much. And the idea that I was going to pitch anything for Monsters Inc. was just like, oh, dream come true to be able to be additive to that universe. And if I was going to be additive to that universe, I was going to be additive to that universe and do something cool. I did some major expansion in my thing on that cryptids that have been like exiled to the real world. There's a lot of really cool things in my Monsters Inc. pitch. Maybe one day I'll break out an episode and I'll do talk about all the Pixar stuff and all the other Muppet licensing things that I almost did at Boom Studios when we had the licenses and some of the difficulties. I was also I worked with Joe Books, even though my name was never on any of the stuff. But I was friendly with those people, and there was talk for me to work on that material again. So I had a long kind of relationship with Disney and license stuff and trying to work on these things. Disney was trying to hire me for a little while to come and write some of their international magazine stuff, but they rejected all of my pitches. This was really strange. It was one of the only times this has ever happened, or happened exactly like this, where I pitched them a bunch of things, and they came back after they had asked to hire me, and I said, okay, well, and like I was like, okay, and they asked me to put together some pitches. I put together some pitches, and they came back and they were like, listen, we can't do any of your pitches. They're all too big and grand, and that's not what we do. But you have a knack for writing these character voices, and we would really still love to hire you to to nail these characters and just get them right. And I just went, if I can't tell any sort of interesting or meaningful story with them, I'm going to be miserable. So I just said, I can't do it. So I bailed and I didn't do it. But I love these characters so much. From this film, I love this film so much. I think it's so worthy. The big strong guy, the strong person, the person in the strength position should always be looking out for the little guy. Should always be looking out for the people that need help. Should always be protecting those people. And this is a story about somebody who is in a position of strength, getting an opportunity to protect somebody who needs it, and it might not be good for them. They might end up in jail. Their whole life may fall apart, but they're going to do it anyway because it's the right thing to do. And that's it. That's the world I want to live in, with people doing the right thing. And this isn't a person. This is a monster. But he does the right thing, and that just is everything to me, man. Monsters, Inc., one of the most charming, delightful, wonderful films I've ever seen in my life. Love how it looks. I love all the monsters. I love the humor. And I love the warmth and the heart that is there between Boo and Sully. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Peter Doctor. That one is a great one. All right. Here we are. Number one with a bullet. Can you guess what it is? It's like, there's only so many that I haven't mentioned, right? So it's like, well, is it Zootopia? No. Is it Raya and the Last Dragon? No. Is it The Reluctant Dragon? No. No. What is my number one? Well, I told you, it's a lot like Monsters, Inc., but I realized there's just a couple extra layers to it that I just love. Even though it's a similar premise almost, but there's just a couple extra pieces that put it over the top. Very similar, but different in all the right ways. Immersive in completely different ways than Monsters Incorporated. And explores things that I have a lot of love and nostalgia for. And that is, at number one, Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph, a video game villain, tired of being the bad guy, leaves his arcade game to earn a hero's medal and prove his worth, causing chaos across multiple game worlds. Along the way, he befriends the glitchy racer Vanellope and learns that being a hero isn't about labels, but about self-acceptance and helping others. ultimately saving her game and embracing his role. I just watched this again the other day with my kids, and one of my younger son turned to me and goes, "So, did you play this game when you were a kid?" And you might be going, "That's a reasonable question." Well, Wreck-It Ralph isn't a real game. It is now. They made a real game at the time to promote the thing, and I have played the real Wreck-It Ralph game, and it is great. It's modeled after a lot of these classic arcade games, and I love some of those classic arcade games like Burger Time or the old school Super Mario, and there's plenty of others to mention. But Donkey Kong. It really kind of feels like Donkey Kong more than anything. But it's a great fake game that they made, and it's a great fake character that they made, and it was meant to sort of represent a certain thing. It got to put you into this video game world, the world of arcades, the world of all of these different licensed things, from Mario to Sonic and anything else that anybody else had grown up in, all in one place, and give it life, by having this, through the plugs, all of the games are connected, and they can go to the terminal where they'll all meet up and meet people, and they have friends. They all live at the arcade, and they're all experiencing a similar sort of existence as game characters, including the villains, who are all kind of like, I'm a villain, I'm bad, but I'm not bad. I'm a bad guy, but I'm not a bad guy, which was so much of how they had promoted it in the first place. This was one of those few films that had an incredible promotional campaign that really blew your mind, got you super excited to watch the film, and then the film actually lived up to the greatness of the fucking promotions. You were like, oh my God, I can't wait to see that. And then you went to see it and you were like, oh my God, it was fucking awesome. So awesome that they made a sequel, which I hate. I hate the sequel. The sequel literally walked back on all of the progression that Ralph's character makes in this movie. Ralph's character ultimately does something very similar. It's Ralph is Sully, and instead of Boo, you've got Vanellope von Sweets. But in the case of Sully, where he kind of like, from the very beginning, he's that honorable guy, and he kind of is put in this position where he sees that he's got to do something, he's got to do the right thing. With Wreck-It Ralph, he's much more conflicted, and he's self-motivated. He's trying to do something for himself, and eventually he gets to a point where he realizes, he gets kind of caught up in Penelope's story, and he wants to help her. So he starts doing things that aren't good for him and aren't necessarily going to help him in the name of helping Vanellope von Schweetz, who's wonderfully played by Sarah Silverman. She's just super cute, and her voice is great, and she's a great foil to Wreck-It Ralph, and their relationship is really cute and adorable. Just the different size proportions, and just the different games, and the different aesthetics of it all. It just feels great. He's this old school game. She's this new young game who just, she just wants to race, and she's enthusiastic and exuberant. And he just sees her as this loving kid who just wants to be a part of the reindeer games. And she's getting abused and bullied by the people in her game, and they won't let her do anything. She's a glitch. She's stuck there. It just all feels so right and wonderful, and he rises to the occasion to save the day. He's not a hero, but he is. He becomes a hero simply by being at the right place at the right time, and recognizing that there's a right thing to do, and giving up on his own selfish pursuits in the name of lifting up somebody else. And it doesn't get any better than that, man. Released in 2012, Wreck-It Ralph is played by John C. Reilly. Sarah Silverman, I said, is Vanellope von Schweetz. Jane Lynch and Jack McBrayer play the Fix-It Felix. I used to have a Fix-It Felix hat. Fix-It Felix. Fix-It Felix. His hammer can fix anything. Fix-It Felix is great, especially him dying. But don't worry, the hammer, don't worry, I come back. No matter what happens to me, I come back. Or my hammer will fix it. Punch me in the face a bunch of times. Jane Lynch, coming from a typical Halo type game, a Call of Duty type game, some Gears of War kind of game. And then going into a standard, typical kind of racing game, some cutesy racing game. There's all sorts of cutesy racing games that have been made over the years, some memorable and some not. And this just kind of fit into that thing, Vanellope von Schweetz and everything that she's going through. I won't spoil the whole story of like what becomes revealed as the story goes on, but this is just Ralph. He wants to be a good guy. He's tired of being a bad guy, and he ends up in this game because he's trying to get a medal, because he wants to prove that he's worthy. And that he's a good guy and that he could do what Fix-It Felix does, even though really his nature is to wreck things. That's what he's good at. But in the end of the day, wrecking things can be good too sometimes. Sometimes things do need to be wrecked. And Wreck-It Ralph gets to be that hero, but he really earns it in a couple just extra ways that Sully doesn't have to, because Sully's already like a pretty good guy. It's funny because you go back into the college days and it's all about how Sully kind of sucks. Which I really didn't like, going backwards with Sully's character and making him suck. He was a good man. He was the right kind of man. Telling the story of how he became that man, I don't know if it necessarily does that work. I don't think it necessarily makes you go, oh, this is how he became the good man who saved Boo. But this tells you the story of how Wreck-It Ralph made peace with himself, who he was, where he was within his life, and decided to take care of somebody else instead of him, and became a hero by simply doing that. By simply doing that. Oh, there's a wonderful moment at the end of the game, at the end of the movie, where he talks about, just sort of wraps up, and he just talks about how he can see her game. He can see the racing game that Vanellope's in through his game, and delighting in seeing people play as Vanellope and how much people love her. And, and it's just wonderful. I don't want to spoil anything because it's so heartwarming. It's so moving. I'm sorry. It's like a whole fucking day of talking about all of these moving movies. And, it's number one on my list for a reason. It speaks to me. It really does. It's who I want to be, I guess. I want to be that person that no matter what's going on, I am wise enough to keep my head out of my ass and give my energy to the people who deserve it, and try and lift up the goodness in the world and lift up the joy. And that's what this movie's about to me. And I hate the stupid sequel because they just walk back on everything, all of the growth that Wreck-It Ralph makes in the first film. They just completely erase it. And he's like literally worse in the second movie. He's stupider in the second movie. He's jealous and just so many dumb things. And I hate the second film. But this is amazing. Directed by Rich Moore. This revitalized Disney's animation modern era. Very strong critical and audience reception. I mean, the audience, when we were in that crowd, what a fucking... a memorable audience. Everybody was so fucking happy. Everybody was just laughing at all the right spots. We were all getting all the member berries. I mean, like, this movie invented member berries. This movie did member berries so well that member berries has become its own fucking category. It made $496 million worldwide. Heavy use of licensed video game characters, including Bowser and Sonic, and so many, even the Street Fighter guys and Burger Time guys. I mean, just obscure ones and not obscure ones. There's so many. If you just go in there and look, Zangief in his fucking underwear. There's so much great things to love about this movie if you have any affection for video games at all. So that's the other thing. This one, it's like Monsters Inc., except for you really get to see freaking Sully get to that place where he earns it and he learns to be that good guy and naturally, and it just lets you fall in love with him. And then on top of it, the whole movie is just framed and littered in this wonderful bit of nostalgia for just video games in general and video game culture in general. It's just so wonderful. And, this was one of Disney's first major internet culture aware films. It's just like they were really understanding meme culture and what people, the fact that people remember these things and these things get shared and immortalized in one way or another through the fans of all these games. And they just set this character and this story in the midst of this world that everybody would be interested in anyway. And then it was done well. It was done well. Rich Moore, of course, directed Zootopia as well more recently. And it is just one of the greatest things ever. The last thing I'll say about it is King Candy is played by Alan Tudyk, who is one of my fucking favorite actors, period, and one of my favorite voiceover actors. Him doing King Candy is just amazing. See some interviews with him doing King Candy. He's great. And really, he's doing like a Mad Hatter impression, this really classic voiceover impression from like because that guy who does the Mad Hatter, he's also in Bedknobs and Broomsticks, I think, doing I Love to Laugh, ha 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 ha. Or is that Mary Poppins where they do I Love to Laugh and they're floating on the ceiling? Whichever one it is, that guy's voice. Alan Tudyk does like this impression of him, but a little bit just with his own beautiful acting chops. Alan Tudyk, dude, chef's kiss. You are just such a talent, man. And thank you so much for your part in that film and all of those people, just John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman, Jack McBride, Jane Lynch. I will love you all for all time for your contributions to the Wreck-It Ralph film. Wreck-It Ralph blew me away, and I went into it with fucking high expectations. My expectations were to the fucking moon. You never sit down with high expectations and have a movie exceed your expectations. I sat down with ridiculously high expectations, and Wreck-It Ralph exceeded them all. It is the single greatest Disney animated film ever made, as far as I'm fucking concerned. Impressed. The story, the design, all of the cameos and jokes. It's genuinely funny. It's genuinely fun. It's genuinely heartwarming. And if you've never seen it, I recommend it with my whole heart. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening to my show. Thank you so much for listening for the past 3 weeks as we've slowly broken down the greatest Disney animated films of all time. I think like 60 all told with all the bonus ones that we've mentioned. It's got to be like 60 of the greatest Disney animated films ever. And you are here to go over them all with me. If you disagree with me, or if you think I'm missing something, write to me, jbs@blacklightdistrict.studio, and tell me so. Say, Jesse, how did you miss? How did you? And, maybe I'll get back to you and I'll have a reason why it's not necessarily my favorite. Or maybe somehow I did miss it. I don't really think I've not seen too many. For the most part, I've seen even like little ones, little sequels and stuff. I've seen a lot of them. So, but if you've got one, if you're like, oh, Jess, you are missing out. You need to watch whatever it is. Please let me know. jbs@blacklightdistrict.studio. Anyway, I'm going to be coming back to you next week. I don't know what I'm doing next week. There's a couple different things on the docket. I might be bringing you a music episode, doing a feature on one of my favorite bands, or I might be bringing you a episode on all of the all of the Star Trek films, because I'm slowly going through. I'm halfway through right now. So if I get through that in time, I might end up doing that. But I think I'm probably going to be coming back with a really awesome music feature for you next week on another awesome episode of Coolest Alive. Oh, and join me on Monday for a great episode of Everything They Don't Want You to Know. I love you guys. See you next time. You've been listening to Coolest Alive with me, your host, Jesse Blaze Snider. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more excellent entertainment recommendations. Thanks for listening.
It's gonna be fucking awesome. Come on, it's gonna be fucking awesome. You know the words. It's gonna be fucking awesome. That's it, say. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Yeah! It's my favorite part. Isn't it heavy? I'll play that. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Coolest alive. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Stay with your tribe. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Revenge of the Geeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Week after weeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Laughing with you. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And cry sometimes too. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Spelling it out. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Making you shout. gonna be fucking awesome. Talking some shit. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Living the shit. My voice is fucking awesome. Food in our mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Get in the mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Tell all your friends. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Call right or text. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Raising the bar. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Straight to the stars. It's gonna be fucking awesome. It's starting soon. Straight to the top. Passing the moon. It's gonna be fucking awesome. On with the show. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Ready, set, go.
It's got to be fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. It's gotta be fucking awesome. Just wait. You'll see. You'll all see.
You'll all see.
The podcast playground.